Well, I was preparing for this podcast and I realized that this episode is our 45th episode of the Totally Indian Football Show. And I'm like, wow, looking back, I never thought I would reach this number. But here we are, thanks to everyone working behind the scenes. You only hear my voice, but a lot of people working, including my dearest team from Idea Brew Studios. I want to start this show by giving a shout out to our sound engineer who was working on our show, Craig, who's now has moved on and want to pursue higher studies. So he's no more going to make us sound very good, but we have a replacement for him. But he was a biggest cheerleader for podcast. So big thanks to him. But hey guys, let's get started on this 45th episode of the Totally Indian Football Show with me, your host Siju. And I'm so happy and as always, but a little more excited to get probably, I don't know if that's not wrong, this could be the first non-Indian guest that we have on the show. Coach Cedric Leroy, all the way from France, joining us. Thank you so much and welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Siju, for your invitation.
Right. So let's get started. And, as we were talking off the record, we would be delving into your connection and your relation with Indian football and what was it like and how was it like. Let me start by saying that he is currently the under 15 girls team coach at PSG. And we all know what PSG is famous for, all the big names that they have at the moment. But Coach Cedric is at the grassroots level, nurturing and churning out future stars for the club. But coach, before we, I think we'll keep the last segment talking about your PSG experience and journey. But let me start with when and how did you decide to come to India?
Well, the thing is, I'm a former football player and a former futsal player. And to be honest, I was a little bit curious about Indian football before everything. After my studies, I just decided to take a break. I have a master degree in management, and I needed some time for me, and I just decided to book a flight ticket to India. So it was my first experience there in India. I went to Pondicherry and some other place there, Chennai and all. And I met a lot of guys there, especially in le lycée français of Pondicherry, which is a French school. And we used to play football there. So it was definitely my first connection with Indian football there. And after it, I just realized that there is a lot to do there. And maybe as a former football player and futsal player, I can bring something there. But yes, it was just my first experience and I first traveled to India. So at the beginning, I didn't get this idea to work on a project and all. I was just there to discover the country, the culture, and the Indian football. It was my first idea.
Right. And how long was your stint in India?
Well, probably 1.5 months. And as I told you, I met a lot of person there. They asked me to come and play football with them. So as you well know, football is really powerful and you can make some good connection with people on a place with football by playing football. So yes, my stay was only for 1.5 months there.
Okay.
At the beginning.
Right. And as we were talking off the record and you shared with me your experiences that you had over here. And you were, like you mentioned in Puducherry, you were also part of a futsal project. Could you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, so as I told you, I met a lot of person there. But at the beginning in Pondicherry, the only one place where you can play football in a decent situation was the Lycée Français, as I told you. There is a stadium there in Pondicherry. The name is Indira Gandhi Stadium, I guess. But the conditions, the ground and all there were not really good. So yes, I met some guys there in the Lycée Français, and they get some project to develop football in Pondicherry, because as you well know, Pondicherry is I don't know if it's the good word, but it's a ex-French colony. Some French person were there, and you can definitely find some French Pondicherrian person in the place. So they know how the football is in Europe, and they can bring something in the place if they want to. So the fact is, I met a guy, and the guy told me that, okay, I would like to build something here in Pondicherry. and we decided to work together on the project. But before that, as I told you, I was there for probably 1.5 months in Pondicherry, but I came back to France and I booked another ticket later to Nagpur with the Slum Soccer project. And when I was in Nagpur, I talked a lot with my partners there in Pondicherry about football and all. And it was the exact time where we decided to build something all together. So my first experience in Indian football was in Nagpur with the Slam Soccer project. And we used to work on the Homeless World Cup. So I was with the boys team and the girls team there. And then after this project, I decided to come back to Pondicherry to work on the project you mentioned, which is the Futsal Association of Pondicherry.
Great. And you went back and forth between Pondicherry and Nagpur, and you had, I'm sure, different experiences from both the places. But since you mentioned you're also a futsal player and you engaged yourself into a futsal project in Pondicherry, what I want to ask you is, having been played both football and futsal, do you think, on from the administrative point of view, the federation should probably be the same for both? Or the things, there are a few technicalities that are different in both football and futsal, though it may look similar. But how do you think a federation should, or at an administrative level, should approach both these sport? Should it be on the same lines, or should there be a completely different body working on two different sports?
Well, it's a kind of similar, but it's not exactly similar, to be honest. And I don't want to give any lessons to the Indian Football Federation about it, because to be honest with you, the French Football Federation is not that good by managing futsal. So yes, definitely, I do believe, because as I told you, I'm a former futsal and football player. So I do believe futsal and football can be good together, but it's hard. It's like two families, and sometimes it's not that easy to manage those people around a similar project. So my opinion is, yes, definitely the Indian Football Federation should manage a proper futsal project and work with some football project, because my opinion is that futsal can bring a lot to a player, especially because a youth player, for example, can touch the ball a maximum time on a futsal pitch, which is not the case on a football pitch, for example. And by the way, on a technical way and on a physical way, it's something definitely different. So football should be the main project, but futsal should develop in a good way, because it can bring something good to the players there. And I do believe on the power of futsal when you're a youth player. By the way, this is one of my projects here in PSG for the upcoming year. I would like to bring my girls to a futsal pitch and teach them how to play futsal. But still, we need to get a link between football and futsal. It's really important. I mean, you cannot be focused only on futsal, because some aspects of the games are totally different.
Right. Now let's go back to your experiences here. And Pondicherry and Nagpur, I believe, are those only two places that you've been in India, or
Yeah,
any other places that you travel to?
yeah. I was also in Delhi, in Mumbai. I mean, all around India, to be honest. In Kerala also, everywhere in Bangalore for tournaments and all. But the two projects where I was involved was in Pondicherry and Nagpur. Yes, you're right.
So before we dwell into the other parts, or your observations that you got from across the country, let me put some light on the slum soccer project that you were part of. Now, today, all of us, everyone who, whether they are part of Indian football or they know what's happening with the sport in the country, today are aware of the slum soccer project thanks to the people who made the movie, Jhund, by the name of Jhund, and to showcase the story of the person who, got together kids from homeless backgrounds. So tell us your personal experience having someone worked so closely on that project for almost 2 months, and what was your initial thoughts, because you're not from India and you come down here and you look at that project, and what pushed you to work on that?
Well, to be honest, I'm this kind of guy who follow his instinct. So I really don't know, but I was most interested in the Homeless World Cup, and I made a research on who is managing the project for India, because as I told you, my first idea was to discover football all around India and just try to understand how it works, what we can do all together, and also I just made a research on internet. I found the project there in Nagpur, so I just decided to send them an email. So I did, and they told me, okay, we are definitely ready to welcome you here in the place in Nagpur, but you have to book a flight ticket and come and meet us. So I did, and here is the story, as simple as that. So I met all the team there in the place, and it was the Homeless World Cup in Norway. Okay, so they just asked me to take some trainings for the girls team and the boys team, and I'm still really connected with most of those players and some person of the Slum Soccer project. When I was there, the movie June was not ready, and it was just a project. So I heard about it, but sometimes in life there is some project on the table and nothing happened. But finally the movie is here, so it's a good thing. About the project and what they do there in the place, it's really nice and it's a really good project. They use football as a really powerful thing. Yeah, I mean, they're not really promote football, but football is important for the education of the kids, and they do a really great job on those public schools where sometimes the professors, or I don't know, they are not that good. And yeah, they use football to help them. So it's really nice, because when I was there, as I told you, I met a lot of person, and now I can see how they grow up and what they become. And I mean, it's really good. And it's the only one way to judge a project, in my opinion. It's how it is at the beginning and then how it becomes.
Right. Now, let's get to talking about your experiences that you've gathered from across the country and, traveling around. And if I may ask you, what observations
Mm-hmm.
can you share,
Okay.
having traveled around for football, meeting people, and what are your thoughts?
Do you want me to talk about my whole travel around India?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
can,
you can probably put it in a way that before you could come to India, while you were doing your research and you're reading upon the country, the football here, at that stage, what thoughts were on your mind? And after you came here, when you saw people, and then you left back, did that change, or what added? And you can share it that way.
Well, as I told you, I'm a former football and futsal player, but I'm also a huge football fan. So about Indian football, I had something in my head. How a big country like India cannot be able to play World Cup. To be honest, 100%, it was my question. So that's why I just decided to discover football all around India, and that's why I decided to travel around India. So yes, I came to the place in Nagpur, in Pondicherry, everywhere. And one thing is really important to understand is football there in India does exist. This is the first point. Most of people around me in France or in European football, they just don't know about Indian football, and they say, okay, India is a cricket country, and football is not developed there. They don't like football at all. It's definitely not true. People are really passionate and they love football. They want to play football. They want to do something in football, but something is happening. The thing is, France is a small country. Okay, so I cannot compare, and nobody can compare his country with India or China, which is some big countries. So it's hard for a federation to manage it in a proper way. That's my opinion. So you have some small federation everywhere, or some powerful federation, doesn't matter. But the thing is, the main federation has a really big job to do. So that's the problem, and that's why, in my opinion, India needs to progress in this way. You must know about the FIFA ban, probably 1 or 2 weeks ago. I think it's a good thing for Indian football because they can definitely think about the whole project and their vision and how to manage it. So yes, I came to India. I saw most of the person involved in football and like football and all. So I was not able to understand how it is possible to stay at this level. I cannot understand it. But the fact is, if you don't have a good vision, a good federation, some good youth team, some good project, then nothing happens. Plus, the fact is, if you're a young player in India and you, I don't know, maybe in Assam, Sikkim, or I don't know, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, it's hard for you to find a way to progress, to be professional. And yes, this is the point. So this is my observation after most of my time there in India. I don't know if the thing will develop and will progress, but I do believe that FIFA ban can push those persons to think about the global project and how they can progress and all. Again, it's not a judgment; it's just my observation, and the thing is, it's really hard for me to compare the football in Europe and in India because it is definitely not the same situation at all, and the same countries for sure.
Right. I think with regards to suspension, yes, the point that you made with regards to the federation definitely can learn from their mistakes and try to rectify. It gives them an opportunity. And now that the suspension is lifted, we only have, hope that good things do follow, at least, even if it's small steps. There are things that are taken. And all of people here, I think one takeaway from the points that you mentioned was we really need to work together to get to our end goal. Well, thank you so much for sharing all those point of view. And no, and I don't think, it though like you clarified, it's not a judgment, but I don't think it should be taken as that way. It's definitely your observations, having traveled across, and I think most of us would agree to most of the points that you made with regards to where we are and where we lack. And I think two myths that even we have broken away from is the fact that having large population does not equal to having a successful team in any sport for that matter, and things are different here and elsewhere. We really can't compare to different countries. So moving on to, I think, the last segment that I said I will talk to you about is the definitely exciting one for all football fans who are listening to the show, that you are part of the PSG project as the under 16 girls team coach. You were last time you were with the under 15 boys team as an assistant coach. And take us through your journey. How did PSG happen, and it's how long it's been that you're with them, and tell us something about how you're working on the girls team as well.
Well, after my time there in India and this successful futsal project with the Pondicherry team, as you well know, the COVID came, so I just decided to go back home. And since this time, I didn't go back to India, so I'm sad. I will come back for sure. But yes, so it was the starting point for my experience there in PSG. As I told you, I'm a former football and futsal player, so I know a lot of French football coaches and all. And I get this opportunity to join the club 2 years ago with the U16 boys team as an assistant coach. And it was a great opportunity for me because, to be honest with you, I'm a huge fan of PSG since my young age. So, so yes, you can imagine it, I guess. The fact to be involved in the club you support is something special. So It was 2 years ago, and I was with the U16 boys team, and it's like really amazing because the level of those kids is just crazy. The fact is, we have one of the best league all around the world here in Paris. I mean, in Paris and the suburb, most of talented French players come from this area. So you can definitely imagine it. I guess the fact is PSG is PSG. So most of those kids just dream to come to the club and work with us. So as a coach, when you have this kind of kids on your hands, it's like really good because you can do everything you want to do, and they are ready to work, and they are ready to learn, and they are definitely ready to reach their objectives and their goals. So yes, and by the way, as you well know, PSG is definitely not the same club because when I was young, PSG was not that good, to be honest with you. It was a good club, a good French club, but no Champions League and all. We didn't play the champions sometimes, but not every year and all. And now, we have the Qatar with us, and they do believe in the club and the project, so they just manage it in a proper way, and that's good because, as I told you, before the Qatar, those kids from Paris and from the suburb was not most interested in the club. And through this, the thing is, those kids, they just went to the different club like Monaco, for example, or Lens, or I don't know what kind of club, or maybe England and all. But now we are definitely ready to hold those kids with us here in Paris and give them the best to progress. So yes, to be involved in the club and work with them is like really good. I do enjoy my thing, and at the end of the year, sorry, I get a talk with my technical director, and he told me about this project of the U16 girls teams because they want something new, and they want to push the project to develop. Because as you well know, PSG girls team plays the champions every year. So again, it's definitely not the same project now. So we need to work hard on it. And the women football developed in a really good way here in France. So I thought that, okay, maybe it can be a really good project for me because I do believe in on those girls, and I can bring something to them. So here it is. We just restarted the training probably 2 weeks ago. The girls are definitely ready to play what they are going to play. We're gonna play a league, but a boys league. So a U14 boys league, and we have our first friendly game, sorry, on Saturday. So yes, let's see what will happen. But again, it's PSG, so it's very good for us to get these kind of girls with us, and we can work hard on them because this is the only one way to progress and the only one way to be a professional football player. Because it's another point, but many times on Instagram, some players, some Indian players, boys and girls, they ask me, how can I become a football player, coach? I want to become a football player. And my only one answer is you have to work and believe in you, and that's it. But I know that it is not that easy to find the opportunity, but I do believe in this. If you work hard and if you do believe in your dreams, then you can reach that level. That's the only one way. So yes, be a PSG coach is a huge thing. We have a strong project, and I hope after this upcoming World Cup in Qatar, the project will be stronger. We have a new training center on, how can I say, it's under process. They are building a really big training center with 17 pitches, and yeah, it will be another step for us So we still develop a lot, and yes, let's see what will happen.
Great. Finally, do you have, if I had to ask you, if you could share something that you would want to say to young coaches, potential future coaches listening to this show in India, what would you want to say to them?
As I told you for the players, it's exactly the same thing. I need to tell you a story about a coach. He's 18 years old, and his name is Ryan Joseph. He is with me here in France at the moment. So he comes from Pondicherry. Okay. His mother comes from Bengal. So he's basically a Bengali who is living in Pondicherry. When he was 14 years old, he came in front of me and he told me that my dream is to become a coach. So what can I do to become a professional coach and all? I told him, oh, you have to work. As I told you, you have to work and believe in your dreams. But what it means, the thing is, as I told you, I came back here in France and we never lost this relationship. When I was in India, he pushed me to meet his mother and his father, and we had a talk about his project and all. And one thing is really important is that his mother and his father, they do believe in him a lot and his project a lot, which is not that easy for parents. Okay, just for example, when you're 14 years old and you tell to your mama or your papa, okay, I would like to become a football coach, they can be a little bit surprised and they can say, okay, no, maybe you should study or you should do something else, but football coach is not a job and all. But as I told you, he did believe a lot in his project. So he makes the things happen for probably 4 years. We had these small talks by phone, by text, by video call and all. So the last summer, he just decided to take a flight ticket. Okay, so now he's in Paris and he is learning with us how to become a coach. So he will start in a local club probably the next week, and he will do his football certificate, coach certificate. So that's great. So if you're a young coach and you want to progress, first you need to meet people. Meet people is important, and you need to meet someone with a vision, but a good vision. Someone who can push you in a good way. Okay. By the way, you need to be on the pitch. You need to be really involved in your project because it's easy to say, okay, I want to become a football coach, but it's another thing to go on the pitch, take a team, train a team, talk with them every day, like give your time for free at the beginning because it's supposed to be like it, you know. Nobody will pay you if you don't have any experience and all, but you need to make it happen. I mean, you need to go to talk to people, tell them, okay, I want to become a coach. How can I become a coach? Do you have a team for me? I want to train the team. I want to do the thing and all. So do the thing is the key. I mean, don't be afraid to believe in your dreams. You can definitely do something good. And for sure, in India, there is a lot of person who are really ready to do it, to become football coach, and to be involved in the global football development there in India. But it should happen like it, you know, and don't think about the money at the beginning and don't think about the level of the team and all. The most important thing is to be involved in the project. Okay. And train some, I don't know, some boys and girls at the grassroots level, for example, and all, because it's the process. And I did the thing exactly in the same way when I was young, when I was in France. Okay. My first experiences was to uh, go to a club and take a small team and try and commit some mistakes and then those guys who were in charge, they just came in front of me and told me that, okay, Cedric, you should do this, you should do that. So this is the only one way to progress. Meet people, and do the thing, and don't think about the money at the beginning and the time you will spend on it. because it will give you a maximum confidence to realize your dreams and become football coaches. But the most important thing is you should not become a football coach just for the I don't know, the image, or to pretend. It's not a good way to follow. You have to really be passionate by the thing. If you want to become a football coach, you also need to play football. It's important because you will understand how it works. It's not about the level, okay? You can play football at a small level and all. There is no problem at all. The thing is, if you're not on the game, some points hard to understand. So yes, this is my tips if you want to become a coach. By the way, if you want to send me a text on Instagram, you can definitely, and I can help you to build your project if you want. And if I can do something for you, I will. It's always a pleasure for me to share my small experience and how I did the thing to become a football coach. And I don't promise anything like, okay, you will become a professional football coach for Chelsea or Manchester or PSG, maybe, I don't know. But be a football coach. It's not only about those big clubs. It's also about small clubs. And if there is no small clubs, there is no professional football. So it's something really important to understand.
Great. I think that was some detailed insights, and thank you for sharing that story of the coach as well. So, thank you so much, Coach Leroy, for taking time out and having been in two different time zones, but you still made this finally, and I'm so happy to have hosted you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your invitation again, and I hope the podcast will be one of your good podcasts for now and for the future.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm hoping you, because I got you on the show, the whole of PSG would listen to it, even the top players. So
Yeah,
uh, that's something I'm looking forward. But also the other thing I'm looking forward to is whenever you are in India next. Hopefully that is soon. We can probably have an in-person chat on all things football even then as well. Thank you once again, and
let's
all the
do it.
very best for
Thank
everything
you
that's
very
ahead
much.
of you.
I just want to say that you do a really great job for Indian football, and I would like to congratulate you for it, because it's important to share and talk about it. The thing is, you're one of the person who try to do something for Indian football, and I have a lot of respect for you for this, because it's the way, to follow, like, meet person, as I told you, and talk all together and think all together. So with your podcast, you really do a great job. So congrats again, and thank you very much for this.
Thank you so much for those kind words, and shout out to everyone who does their bit, all the content creators out there on social media and different podcasts for doing what you do for Indian football. Thank you once again, Coach. And to all our listeners, thank you for all the love, and continue to listen to our shows. Yes, we are nearing the big 50, and hopefully we get someone big to celebrate that as well. But this episode is nonetheless, the big one as well. So please to tune in, and if you've liked it, please to share, and do not forget to follow and subscribe to our podcast. We're available on all the audio platforms, so please do so. This is me, Siju, signing off from the Total Indian Football Show. Thank you.